commercial real estate is a space that's 5 to 10 years in the past of what like bleeding edge technology companies are doing. There's so much untapped opportunity, and there's a lot of resources to tap into using that technology. So it's been kind of interesting being a frontierswoman, if you will, in commercial real estate.
A local or a regional boutique commercial real estate brokerage. Maybe there's 10, 15 agents. Other than just putting out their listings, they really don't do any marketing. There's not billboards. There's not commercials. There's not a blog. There's not a podcast. There's not much of a social media presence. What would you say are the strategic pieces that you'd want to start with to create a brand marketing system or machine?
There's a big difference between ads and what you said, brand marketing.
The reason people stick with particular brokerages and brokers over others is that rapport, that trust. One of the best ways to build trust is through storytelling. Bob Knackle's a great example of this. Strip Mall Guy is a great example of this. They're just posting. And the more you do it, the more people get to know you, they trust you, they start advocating for you, engaging with you. Ultimately, it will lead back to ROI. I will say case studies and testimonials are really, really high conversion tools.
But write the testimonial for your client.
Video marketing is huge.
It is so forgivable nowadays to not have the best quality video.
Just use the iPhone. You don't need all the boom arms and podcast mics and all that stuff. You can do it with what's already in your pocket.
For podcasting in particular, if you want to do it, great.
You know, you don't have to start a podcast. You could just create a campaign to be a guest on podcasts.
That's right, yeah.
And get that video, you can repurpose it. That seems like a lot of bang for your time.
And the whole idea in one line was document over create.
Like those who succeed are intentional in what they work on, but also very intentional about their time and where they want to spend it, and they do things on purpose. This episode is sponsored in part by the Massimo Group. Are you a commercial real estate broker looking to boost your business? The Massimo Group is the world's premier coaching organization, transforming the careers of brokers just like you, just like it did for me. Visit www.massimo-group.com today to get started and take your career to the next level. This episode is also brought to you by Site to Do Business, commercial real estate's most advanced toolkit, providing commercial real estate professionals like me with premier data, mapping, and marketing tools to win business and revolutionize decision-making. Visit stdb.com to learn more. You might have been wearing a hat. We spoke at Massimo Con last week in Dallas.
I think you were wearing a hat. That's what it was.
Timmy gets up there and introduces us and calls himself a mix between Pepe Le Pew and...
I was like, there's probably a lot of you thinking, who's this Pepe Le Pew looking mother...
You didn't say that. But
I edited myself. It was coming out. I was like, this Pepe Le Pew looking mother...
And I was already just going, oh, man.
And then I said, no, seriously, I look like a combination between Sonic the Hedgehog and Rufio.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Shanti, do you remember Rufio?
Of course. Yeah. I love Hook.
Oh, I do too.
Hook is one of the best movies of all time.
I agree.
There's a certain number of movies that are part of the Barron family culture.
Yes.
And Hook was one of those.
Yeah,
we all grew up watching Hook.
And then another one was While You Were Sleeping.
For sure.
Yeah, watch that every...
First rated R movie I ever saw. Mom and Dad let me watch Mississippi Burning.
Oh, never seen that
Denzel.
one. Yeah, I never saw that one.
That was part of course, I'm from the first go-round.
Right. Well, the first R-rated movie, the first two R-rated movies were Robin Williams movies. And it was Good Will Hunting, they let me watch.
Yeah.
And Good Morning Vietnam.
And now, Shanti, we had a thing called a TV Guardian. Do you remember this?
Guardian?
Was it? Yeah.
It was after me, but I remember y'all having it.
Yeah, so this is what allowed us to watch some of these movies. And so it was like a little box that you hooked up to the TV. So you're watching a movie, and it would mute the certain section the cuss word was in. So the whole phrase that was being said, like go f yourself, was muted, and then... It replaced it in the captions that said, go hug yourself, right? So ass was replaced with rear. The F word was replaced with hug.
That's like, I feel like iTunes in the mid 2000s, a lot of like the really popular like hip hop rap music that was all the clean versions. It had to be clean versions. And so they would just take out the line. And so when I was younger, I like to pretend to learn. I never looked up the lyrics. I pretended to learn the lyrics to these songs. So I would learn the clean versions and just think that we just weren't talking or singing during those sections. And then found out, of course, as an adult that there were words there. And
there were.
Didn't know them.
That's funny. It's similar. I loved Christian rock music. That's what I grew up listening to. But all like the most popular songs I learned from Weird Al. So I loved Weird Al.
So like you learned the parody before the real song.
I knew my this here Anakin guy, maybe Vader someday later. Now he's just a small fry. He left his home, kissed his mom goodbye,
American Pie,
singing, soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. So like on all these songs, I knew every lyric to, and then growing up, that I'm like, oh, these are real. What is this song? American Pie. What?
Yep.
That's similar.
I just thought he was really creative.
I was like, man, this is like, I was like, what are all the? And then I realized he was just, doing parody songs. Oh man, our upbringing, it's just so special.
It was unique
so
and fun.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's jump into it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, welcome to Commercially Speaking. I'm Timmy Barron, ADHD.
And I'm Bo Barron, CCIM.
And this is the podcast where Bo teaches me everything about commercial real estate investing because I know nothing. I know a lot more now because we're 80 episodes in, right? But I started as an idiot. Commercially speaking.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Now, I'm not learning it to become a broker or an investor, even though a lot of people are like, when are you going to become a broker or an investor? Maybe I'll invest one day, but I got to make those big bucks first. And I got to figure out how to do it without brokerage,
I'm starting to get the question a lot. Timmy work with you? I'm like, nah. I mean, he's got an office in our office. And,
right. But not
and he does the podcast with us, but you're not connected to our commercial real estate stuff in any way,
or anything. It's just this, and
which is a real shame, man.
I know. I know. It's getting pushed over, but I'm trying to figure out as much information as I can about commercial real estate, so I can make money making fun of people in commercial real estate. So every time I say that, you give me that face. I'm like, Well, today is very special. I'm excited about this because there's somebody else that's like in commercial real estate without really being in commercial real estate. I think. Who do we got today?
We have Shanti Ryle.
Yeah.
From Crexi. And I know you got her bio you can share in a second, but we met Shanti, and when we went on the Crexie Podcast.
Yes.
And come to find out, she's much more like you than she is me.
Yeah, that's right.
We're like, man, we got to have you on.
Yeah.
So tell our listeners about Shanti.
Shanti Ryle is the director of content marketing at Crexie, where she plays a key role in shaping the company's voice and content strategy for the commercial real estate industry. She also produces the Crexie Podcast, an award-winning show facilitating discussions with industry leaders on the latest market trends, technology, and insights. In her role, Shanti draws from her extensive experience working at various SaaS startups of different sizes, SaaS, giving her a broad perspective on how to effectively communicate and market innovative technologies to diverse audiences. Before joining Crexie, Shanti worked in content marketing across several fast-growing SaaS companies, where she developed her expertise in crafting high-impact content that drives engagement and delivers value. Her ability to adapt to the unique needs of different-sized organizations has allowed her to bring strategic insight into how Crexie can continue growing its brand and offering within the competitive commercial real estate space. Shanti's background extends beyond the business world, interesting, into the creative arts. She holds a bachelor's of arts in acting. Look at that. Alongside an associate degree in piano performance. This might be my favorite guest so far. It's my favorite intro so far. My favorite bio to read. Her deep involvement in the arts informs her approach to content creation, bringing a sense of storytelling and creativity to her work. Additionally, she writes and performs original music, showcasing her talent in live performances. Her experience in theater and music provides her with a unique perspective on communication, performance, and engagement skills that translate well into her marketing career. I echo all of that. This is very exciting. Shanti Ryle! Welcome.
That's me. Thank you so much. So excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming. Now, we used to do this thing for a few episodes where I name that tune. This is how it goes, and this is how we're going to open up.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
So
fair warning, I'm so bad with names of songs.
Okay.
So I'll be like, it's that song. And
fair enough.
Well, you're
Fair
a
enough.
performance
I can get
artist, so you can just start singing along and we'll give you credit.
That's right.
sure, that works.
Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to play just a few notes, and then
Okay.
you try to guess. If you can't get it, I'll give you a little bit more. Here you go.
That's not enough. That's just literally a few notes.
That's right.
lots of
That's
songs.
right. Sometimes people get it. Sometimes Bo got it a couple times when we did a final countdown. He knew immediately. Okay, here we
Oh,
go.
well, that's iconic.
I know that's iconic.
You just go da-da-da-da, and
Right,
then
right.
you're like,
Yep.
oh, yeah, that's it.
This one's a little bit more difficult. It really is. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Well,
Is this Mariah Carey?
no. Here we go again.
There is a Mariah Carey song with those chords.
Yeah, I mean, you know chords. It could be millions of songs. All right, here we go.
Oh,
Oh,
Chandelier.
That's it, Chandelier.
Yeah.
That's right. Bye.
Yeah,
See ya.
you had to play the line.
I
right
know,
through
yeah.
it, yeah.
It's that little line. Yeah, and I know this one so well because I did a one-man show in Chicago, and I used this song as if I was leading everybody in communion at church, right? And so they don't know what the song is. The whole point of it was like it's the same, four-chord progression, and then
Yeah.
and then when you go in to sing it after doing the offering and all that, then you go into singing Chandelier, and it was just really funny.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing.
yeah.
All right, 1 for 1.
All right, 1 for 1. Here we go. Good job.
No pressure.
All right, number 2.
Might need you to keep going.
All right, here we go.
That could be a lot of songs too.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. All right, I'll give you a little bit more. I'll give you a little bit more.
hold on. She's about to guess.
Okay.
No, do you got to guess?
No. Give me more.
okay.
Give me more.
I'm going to go higher so I can go lower.
I know the song, I think.
If
It
you're
really
listening-
sounds like something out of a movie score, like
Yeah.
Amelie or something.
Yeah, it does a little bit. It's not, but it does. It's got that feel. If you're listening right now on YouTube, put it in the comments. What do you think?
Yeah, put it in the comments so
Put
I
it in the
don't look
comments,
like a dummy.
Bo, do you know it?
No.
I don't think I know it. No.
It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The regular crowd shuffles in.
Piano Man.
There's an old man sitting next to me.
It's not Piano Man?
Making love. Yeah. Making
is Piano
love
Man.
It is
to
Piano
Jen.
Man.
Yeah, it's Piano Man.
See, if you had gotten to the bridge, I would have gotten it.
I did Music Glue. Yeah, there we go.
Got it. All right.
Piano Man.
My dad's a huge Billy Joel fan. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Oh, that's CeeLo Green.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Forget You.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
Version. Yeah.
No guardian needed on my mic.
I see you driving around town with the girl I love, and I'm like, forget
Now,
you.
if you had the Muppets with you, then
yeah.
that would really,
That would
really
do it.
be easy to guess.
That would do it. All right. Well, good job. 2 out of 3. Well, I guess 3. Well, no. Y'all didn't get that second one. Yeah, but collectively, 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Okay, cool.
Good
well,
enough. Passing grade.
But Shanti, we got to know, how on earth did you get into commercial real estate?
yeah, tell us a story and back up, like
Yeah.
little 5-minute origin story.
Like my bio says, which I realize is kind of long. I might need to cut it down a bit. But I was in the tech universe long before the commercial real estate universe. The interesting thing about coming from an artistic background into the corporate space is that marketing is kind of that gateway where you get to be creative and flex those storytelling muscles, but you're doing it to generate revenue. I've always been interested in tech. My dad works in the tech space. And so found myself in that world out of college, just stuck with it for the last over a decade now. And yeah, with Crexie in particular, they were looking for somebody who specialized in content marketing, so storytelling, education, kind of the longer form corner of marketing that serves as a what's called first touch for a lot of people who might be new to the brand that is Crexie, and had a great interview, fit in.
How long ago was that? Sorry to interrupt.
This will be 5 years ago in February.
Okay.
So I've been here almost 5 years, which in the tech world is a really long time, actually. It's like dog years, so more like 35 almost. But yeah, so I basically just took over everything here from a content marketing perspective, which meant I had to very, very, very quickly learn at least the bare bones of what commercial real estate is all about. And I like to joke that I know nothing about commercial real estate. I have learned a lot of it by osmosis, by researching, by self-education. I've not had any formal training in commercial real estate specifically, but now I can hang. I work with my team on creating market reports that we put out quarterly, monthly, that get used by the industry to make decisions on, various property investments, leases, etc. So it's interesting. I really enjoy it, actually, because I think commercial real estate is a space that's 5 to 10 years in the past of what like bleeding edge technology companies are doing. Like there's so much untapped opportunity in the space, and people are really excited about using it. And there's a lot of resources to tap into using that technology. So it's been kind of interesting being a frontierswoman, if you will, in commercial real estate, even though the tech has been there for a long time. Podcasts really got their start in like 2005 on, really picked up speed 2011-ish, I feel like, is when the heyday of podcasts was. But the Crexie Podcast, for example, will be 4 years old in next spring.
Wow.
And it's been doing great. People love it. That's kind of my brief story. I guess it took a lot longer than I thought it would to tell it.
No, that was perfect. Yeah. That was perfect. Now you still write music and play, and is that specifically like on piano?
Playing with bands or just by myself, it's mostly piano. When I write, I tend to produce it myself. So getting into what's called a DAW, digital audio workstation. A MIDI controller is my best friend. And then after like writing pieces of the song, I'll usually collaborate with other musicians and ask them to add. Like I can't play drums, so I'll bring on a drummer or bring on a guitarist and then kind of piece what the song is together from there. I like the collaborative element of music a lot. I don't know if you find this writing music, but if it's just like one instrument and you hear an orchestra, you're like, this isn't good. Like this is nothing what I hear in my head. And that can get discouraging sometimes. So it's a fine line.
For the record, I just kind of gave one of those affirmation grunts. Yeah. Kind of thing. Like I know what you're talking about. I have no clue what you're talking about.
I heard that. I was like,
I can speak to both of your guys' expertise.
I know.
Right. That's why we're so excited about having you on the show today. But like, I was thinking about the last song that I wrote.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
You wrote a song yesterday?
No. I was thinking about it yesterday.
Okay.
Because one year for Cody's birthday, I can't. It's embarrassing to even think about.
Yeah.
I wrote a song. I was way into Dave Matthews Band at the time. Yeah. I wrote a song that it had that like percussive guitar playing element to it. Yeah. I play guitar, but I'm not a writer and I'm not particularly talented either. But I wrote her a song for her birthday because I didn't have any money to get her anything. And we were both at Murray State University at the time. And I had her over and I played and sang her the song.
Oh, wow.
And she brought her roommate with her. And I was like, oh, no, I don't need more of an audience here. But thinking back on, I think I actually thought it was good. It was not good.
I mean, is there a recording of it?
No, heavens no.
Oh, man.
And
I bet it was better than you think.
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Do you think Cody remembers this?
I have no idea, but it might have been a traumatizing experience for her. It might be a vivid memory, but she's never brought it up since then. So,
oh, I know what I'm going to call her. I'm going to call her right after this.
Yeah.
So I do actually have a fun little tidbit of trivia that bridges music and commercial real estate.
Okay. Yay!
And perhaps my greatest song that I'm most proud of is the Crexie Podcast theme song.
Oh, nice.
What was really cool, like when we were at MossimoCon last week, everybody had walkout music, and everybody
they got to pick.
Yeah, they had us send in the music we wanted to walk out to, and so we used the Commercially Speaking theme song.
Right.
And it was cool to walk, like, that's just some royalty free clip we pulled off somewhere, but like now it's our song, Yeah. And it was cool to walk out to that.
Well, I think what's so cool, and I think what's going to be really great for our listeners, is we've talked a lot about who, not how, and like the people that you should hire that maybe to fill the gaps of skills that you do not have that could really complement what's going on. And I know that especially in this business, marketing for so many business people is like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to go through and hire somebody or what to do looking forward. So what I'm really like curious about from your perspective is, how did Crexi get you, number one, and I guess the flip side of that question is, what were you looking for, and what was it about Crexi that led you, with all the skills and talent that you have, to want to pursue that job?
Something I think that's very unique to SaaS, which is software as a service, is that from a marketing perspective, a big part of what you want to do is not only get the customer in the first place, but keep them. You want to build a rapport with them. You want to provide value, make that value really obvious, and just continue proving out why they should stick with you. I think a very distinct brand and who you are as a company, what you represent in the industry, is really important to that for SaaS companies, as opposed to, let's say, Nike's job is to sell shoes, and Nike's got a strong brand, so maybe that's a bad example. But at the end of the day, they just want to sell shoes. If you sell one pair of shoes, that's fine. They'd love to sell you 10, but one pair of shoes is just fine. A software as a service is a subscription. It's in such companies' best interest to keep the relationship healthy. I feel like in brokerage, it's very similar. Like you said, it's not what, it's who. And the reason people stick with particular brokerages and brokers over others is that rapport, that trust, that continued value. To me, one of the best ways to build trust is through storytelling. Whether that's something like a case study, like here's an example of a client that had really great success using this tool, and then success again using this tool, and you're hearing it from them, not just from us. Or things like the podcast, where we have really amazing folks come on and tell their stories, and we're providing a platform for them to do that, and free education for our listeners to better themselves and educate themselves. That's always been something I've really been interested in, that kind of ongoing, mutually value-adding relationship, as opposed to, like I said, Nike, which is just very transactional. So yeah, when I originally applied, I was just in the market for a tech job in particular. I didn't know much about it, but when I did have my first conversations with the marketing team here, I could tell they really believed in that ethos and felt very strongly that investing in that, it might not have the return immediately, but the long-term payoff of really doubling down on brand and who we are and what we can provide people in the commercial real estate space, that's like they really believed in it. I saw there would be that support in this role, and so I got really excited, and it worked out.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about like brokerages or other like commercial real estate companies that isn't specifically in SaaS, and that makes sense because you were looking for a tech job, and you were, this is a SaaS company. Software as a service. I just learned. Okay, cool.
Yes.
But like
Netflix, Amazon Prime,
right?
Like all,
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're doing this, and this was essentially telling stories about investment deals and of course commercial real estate, personal stories between brothers. But at first it was like, oh, let's do it to help promote the brokerage, but it's really gone beyond that and has opened up opportunities to do more and more. And I also have a really good friend who works for marketing at another, not a brokerage company, but like a commercial real estate and development company and things. And his hands are always tied, like that they don't really understand what he does or what he can do. He does a great job for them with all sorts of things, juggling so many things. So and I guess my question here is, if there was anything that you could help business owners or owners of commercial real estate when they're looking for somebody for marketing and don't really know where to start or what to do. And of course, marketing, the analytics and ROI is just really hard to determine. What would be something you would say, a piece of advice you would say to somebody who's looking for that, as far as what they're looking for even?
It would depend, I think, a lot on the company and kind of where they are on their journey of exploring what kind of marketing they want to do. On one hand, some company might be just fine with a paid media person and they're spending a lot of money on advertising and just go, and hopefully getting clicks out of that. And for that, they can prove out a very specific ROI. You get really good numbers when you work with paid media. So that's one end of the spectrum. I would say if you are a firm that is looking to really get into brand marketing, which is what I do, I would say right off the bat, know that it's going to take a while, that it's going to be consistency. You can set up best practices and ways to measure out the success, but you got to know that somebody might read an article, see you on a podcast, maybe sign up for your newsletter, unsubscribe, resubscribe, read another article, and then maybe sign up to call you. And that's 8 different touch points that they had with your brand. That journey is really wonky. So I would say you got to really decide to commit to consistency and how long it will take to build that up. I would recommend talking to people outside of commercial real estate because you can learn the business pretty quickly. I would say at least the basics of just who you're trying to market to. If you're a brokerage, you obviously want to target sellers, maybe tenants, depending on your specialty. But once that marketing person understands what language to use and who they're talking to, they'll have really great expertise to provide on how to talk to them and things to try that maybe have proven out to be really successful in other sectors, and then just start experimenting. Once you get suggestions from them or you bring them onto your team. It's really, I just want to hammer home, you got to be consistent and keep doing it. I feel like Bob Knackle's a great example of this. Strip Mall Guy is a great example of this. They're just posting every day. It helps that they love it.
Sure.
They did get some expertise provided to them, but really it's just the consistency. And the more you do it, the more people go, they get to know you, they trust you, they start advocating for you, engaging with you. And ultimately it will lead back to ROI.
Now, I totally agree with all of that. There's a big difference between ads and what you said, brand marketing. One of them is just like putting out, here we are, look at this, come to us. The other one is consistent, long-term. You got to be committed to going in and telling stories. And then the other thing too, I just want to re-emphasize even more is that consistency. And through that consistency, it could be, hey, we're putting something out once a week, right? Like a podcast episode. And, or you go to the extreme where it's like, we need to post something at least once every single day. But whatever it is that you're going to do, being consistent with it over time, you will see that growth. The audience will begin to come out of the woodwork and see it and find you. The testing is so important. Every idea that is had, I've always been under the idea that we got to try that. Oh yeah, let's try it. Let's test it. Let's see how it does. Test it a little bit over time. If it seems like a dumb idea, but you would have fun doing it, do it. Like there's no reason not to do it, especially if you're consistent and you keep going. It's like, let's try it today. And then next week you've got the next thing that you're doing. And that just goes off into the thing, into the ether if it doesn't work or whatever. But I think those are all really good things.
And I think once you start building an audience too, people get excited for that experimentation. They want to see, are you going to try something new? They'll be on board with it, not on board with it, give you feedback, what you want. You love customer feedback. And it shows that you're, the technical term is organic, but that you're a real person, even if the brand is not a person, you can have those organic, authentic relationships with your audience.
Yeah.
when you do try this stuff. So definitely underscore everything you just said.
Bo, I see you sitting over there. We're we got a lot of marketing talk, kind of nerding out over that.
Let's workshop.
Okay.
Let's take this scenario. I want to talk kind of like the middle of the road commercial real estate. So like maybe a local or a regional boutique commercial real estate brokerage, not the big nationals with marketing teams and staff, but like, maybe there's 10, 15 agents and a market or two, and they've got a really good business. But other than just like putting out their listings, they really don't do any marketing. There's not billboards. There's not commercials. There's not a blog. There's not a podcast. There's not much of a social media presence. What would you say are the strategic pieces that you'd want to start with to create a brand marketing system or machine? Like, what are some of the first things they should think about? And then maybe after that, we can kind of break it down and make it a little bit more tactical. But like, if you're advising that company, what would you suggest to them at a high level?
I would say, before we do anything else, to really nail down who's your client first, what their needs are, what their concerns are, how you are uniquely positioned to address those concerns. If it's a brokerage that maybe specializes with mom and pop shops, maybe they've only owned one building their whole lives and they don't know how to even think about selling. If you can say, well, we specialize in helping first-time sellers figure this stuff out, where to park their money. Maybe it's 1031 exchanges. I think depending on who your audience is, they have a certain amount of pre-existing knowledge in the space, specific concerns, especially if it's a by asset type basis. Specific markets have specific concerns. So I would just really spend time figuring that out. And, with the asterisk that more information can be added to this profile and persona. And it might be multiple personas too. And then once you have a better understanding of who that audience is, where they might be, there's a couple different options. And I know if it's a boutique firm, they probably don't have as much of a budget to spend on marketing.
Well, let's not hold back this fictitious boutique. Let's just say they've got the money.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think a good place to start would be in events, whether that's, setting up a table at conference, going to networking events, and building out those strong connections would be a really solid way, I think, to get very warm leads, so to speak. If you have that personal relationship up front, there's a lot higher of a chance that they will turn to you when they do have the need that your service provides, if they don't have it already.
What kind of events? I know sorry to interrupt. I know there's like a lot of different like commercial real estate events. There's a lot of different community events.
It could be a commercial real estate specific event. Maybe you can meet, if you're a brokerage again, other brokers that can maybe bring deals to you if they don't quite have what this person's looking for. Where are high net worth individuals going? Where are business owners going? I would say, depending on your market, like if you're in a smaller place, maybe you go to the big cities every once in a while and say, hey, look, you have the capital, we have the opportunity. Come check us out. I would say doing the brand marketing checklist and at least setting up a flywheel where you're regularly posting on social media, you're regularly engaging with your existing customers who will most likely be coming back to you if they had a good experience with you. So through an email newsletter or some other way that you're constantly engaging them. I'm inclined to say content because that's what I do. It does take a certain amount of lift, but any way that you can, with low effort and low cost, keep communicating with either newcomers to your website or existing clients who are engaging with your website. I would say if you don't have a website, definitely get a website.
Yeah.
But I think most firms are at that point. We've gotten past the no website phase of commercial real estate. But I feel like all of that is really low hanging fruit. And you can set up a certain amount of time to, again, be consistent in those corners of your marketing.
Right.
I mean, sales enablement is always helpful. If you do have clients that have had success working with you, get their feedback, get their stories, share those stories. I will say case studies and testimonials are really, really high conversion tools.
Yep.
You know, it's really wonderful to have a broker say like, hey, let me share this story of this person I worked with that got whatever return on investment after selling with us. This sounds very similar to like what you're looking for. Let's maybe chat about it if you have any questions. You know, just more and more ways to lock into that emotional connection. And the more content you produce, the more opportunities you have to reach out with that content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have we ever talked much about case studies and testimonials?
Basically, to the extent of how many testimonials should you put on your website, right?
Yeah, so not even that.
Yeah.
This is what she just said reminded me of these one-pagers that you can do where you basically tell the story of a deal, right? You're storytelling.
Yep.
I mean, it's a case study, but don't call it a case study because that sounds boring.
Right.
Just tell the story of a deal. But at the end of it, you add a testimonial from the client.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's their story, and then they tell the world how awesome you are.
Yeah, right.
If you just do the case study or the story without the testimonial, it's you telling the world, hey, I just did this. But if you tag on that testimonial from the actual client at the end, and at the Massimo Group, we used to coach our clients to do a version of that, but write the testimonial for your client. As a commercial real estate broker, your success depends on the right strategies and guidance. The Massimo Group, the world's top coaching organization for brokers, can help you scale your business and increase your income. And as a former client, I've personally experienced how their coaching can transform not only your career, but also your life. Don't wait to grow. Head to www.massimo-group.com today and see how their proven systems can work for you. This episode is also brought to you by Site to Do Business, the ultimate commercial real estate data analysis and mapping tool. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, Site to Do Business provides the data and insights you need to make informed decisions and close deals faster. Frankly, it's the tool that I use the most in my business. Access comprehensive market analysis, demographic data, and powerful mapping tools like ArcGIS, Placer AI, and Flood Maps all in one place. Identify the best locations for your clients, analyze market trends, and present your findings with confidence. Don't miss out on this game-changing platform. Visit stdb.com today and see how it can optimize your business. And now back to the show. But write the testimonial for your client.
Yeah.
And then submit it to them and say, hey, would you green light this thing?
Yeah.
Because if you ask somebody for a testimonial, they'll generally say yes, and then you'll generally never get it.
Right.
Because they have to burn mental energy to create the thing. And it's just do it for them, make it say exactly what you want, and then get them to endorse the words you put in their mouth. And then when you go into pitch business, you come up with the case studies that match who you're pitching to.
Right.
And so you can say, look, not my first rodeo. Here, we did this, this, and this for these folks, and here's their story, and we did it in the past. We're doing it for others right now. We can do the same thing for you.
Yeah.
And it's
that's nice.
Yep.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Shanti?
If you do have a particularly excited customer, maybe you did a really good job for them and they really are willing to advocate for you, the next wave, and again, commercial real estate's a little bit behind this, so we're just starting to come into it now, but video marketing is huge in the digital space. And so if you have a client that's willing to sit down with you in a room for maybe 15, 20 minutes or so, just answer a couple questions, and you hire some freelance videographer to really quickly tape it, edit it for you. You know, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Having that kind of video that's well put together, you can package that up as social media clips. You can send that to potential clients. And, you know, it's just a lot more compelling seeing the client say it in their own words with their own body language and see how they feel about working with you. But yes, we do the case studies as you described, and they work really, really well for us.
Yeah, that's so good too, because your fund partner, Brad Arns, you know, he hired me to edit some videos for him. And it was the same. He asked the same 5 questions to people wwho have taken the CRE Investor Coach, have gone through that program and continue to go through that. And at first, when he sent it, like he reached out to me, and because I think this can be scary for a lot of people of like, oh, you know, I hear this all the time is the equipment. The equipment's got to be good. You know, you got to have a great camera and do all this, which you do not have to. It was as simple as him just Zoom. It was a Zoom call or a Google call or something, and it just had that recorded. And he sent that to me. And at first I was like, oh, how am I going to, at first it could be a little, as the person who's going to edit it, be like, oh, how can I make this look good? But as I watch it, I'm like, these stories are incredible. And any good editor would be able to edit it in a way and make it look pretty good. But it is so forgivable nowadays to not have the best quality video. It's the story that matters as long as it can be heard clearly and sound good. And there's all these tools to clean it up and stuff. Secret tools. You got to call me if you want to hear about them.
Well, even our nephew the other day, he was doing a college essay.
Right.
Yeah. And he wanted to send it in as him actually communicating the essay.
Yes.
Was that the scenario?
That was the thing. Yeah. They had to do it.
And so our sister asked, hey, can he come in and use the podcast equipment? Which, sure.
Absolutely.
But the reality is like, just use the iPhone.
That's right. You can turn on voice memos, go into a closet surrounded by all your clothes.
They're a great soundproofing tool.
Yeah, yes, they are.
And their cameras are incredible too. So like you can use your iPhone camera. So you don't need all the boom arms and podcast mics and all that stuff. Like,
especially
you can
for
do it
these,
with what's already in your pocket.
Right. When we had Wes Gay on, right? Everything you were saying is like understand who the client is and how to talk to them. And that will really inform what social media platforms you're even going to go on or do. You don't want to burn too much. But once you know who you're talking to and what you want to communicate your authority and expertise, if it is a newsletter or just by mail quarterly thing that goes out in snail mail where you're able to talk specifically to the pain points to show your empathy and expertise or even a case study, and you're consistent with that, and that's just once a quarter going out to hit those the low-hanging fruit or whatever. It's really, really will ultimately come and depend on who that is, the audience or the client, which I can understand how it's kind of hard to answer that question without understanding or asking those questions to the person you're trying to help to understand what their goals are, who they're talking to, and how to help them communicate that.
Well, let's just continue to build out this scenario.
Okay, great.
Okay. Yeah. Because at a strategic level, what I heard you say, Shanti, is basically nail the obvious stuff. Like be crystal clear on who you're trying to serve. Like who is that person? Like what's that avatar? What's your ideal client, ideal prospect, whatever you want to call it. And really dial in and seek to understand what their problems and opportunities are. And then you'll probably want to redo your website after that to change the language, to speak more directly to those folks. Participate in events, just be present, whether it's local, if you're looking for local business, then participate in local events, whether it's chamber stuff or local networking events or different stuff. Even if it's full of brokers, you can network with your rivals. And then start that brand marketing flywheel. Get on social media, do the newsletter, consistently start to put stuff out there that speaks to your core client. Okay, so perfect. Let's say we've got a firm in the Southwest. They've got a couple offices in Arizona and New Mexico, and they specialize in multifamily brokerage of 200 units and less. Most of their clients are mom and pops, high net worth families, maybe a little bit of family office stuff, but generally they're not dealing with institutional investors and stuff. It's the mom and pop deals. And they want to be known as the absolute experts. And so they start that flywheel. They start going to conferences where, multifamily conferences and places where these potential owners can be present so they can be in the room and build those relationships. And what are some more tactical things?
Like content ideas?
Yeah. Should they start a podcast? Should they blog? Should they, what are some things at this point? They're clear on who their client is. They're not at the size where they'll just bring somebody in-house to just do this for them all day long.
And they learned how to use Chat GPT and utilize that. Yeah.
Yeah. What are some more tactical things that,
sure,
if you were advising them that they could do to start to create more of a presence in their market and be understood as experts in this particular thing?
All right. So the question was, what are some extra tactical things that a small firm who's not going to bring on full-time resources but will contract out? If you are going to all of these events, you should document it. either film quick conversations with people, take photos, jot down what you've learned, because then you can have that as an article or takeaways for a newsletter that you can share out with your clientele. When you're going places or meeting with clients or whatever it is, just how can you showcase almost that day in the life of your company? I think, again, going back to Bob Knackle, he does a great job. I just had lunch with this blah, blah, blah investor who I worked with 5 months ago, whatever it might be. You can tag them on LinkedIn and then they're sharing it with their audience.
Yeah.
And so really tapping into what you're already doing. And if it's with other people, tapping into what they're doing as well with their audiences, I think that's really powerful. You could start a podcast if you wanted to. I will say, I think the podcasting space is really saturated, and I very, very, very much recommend only doing it if you love doing it, and record at least 6 episodes before you put anything out. Because after 6 episodes, you'll know if you're like, wow, I really enjoyed this, or, oh God, this is terrible. I hate listening to my voice. This isn't for me.
Which everybody thinks that, by the way. So push through that a little bit.
Yeah.
If you can't get over
I'll
that,
listen to this later and just be like, oh, why do I sound like that?
Everybody hates their voice, except for me.
Yeah, you gotta really love it, because podcasting does take a little bit more work. There are a lot more tools nowadays that simplify it, but I think maintaining the calendar of episodes, and again, it's consistency. So we just hit 100 episodes, I think, last June. Yeah, it's
Nice.
crazy.
Wow.
I still love doing it. Our host team still loves being a part of it. And if we've had some hosts that have been on the show and they're like, actually, this isn't for me. So they decided to not continue with it. So I would say for podcasting in particular, if you want to do it, great, just with those caveats. Otherwise, there are a lot of really great industry podcasts, both in commercial real estate and in business or investing in general, that want guests. There's both of ours, for example.
That's right.
There's a ton of just like financially focused podcasts that I think, frankly, have a much larger audience, because commercial real estate is a pretty niche space.
Right.
Yep.
And they always need more people to come on. So if you have expertise, there are firms that specialize in almost like booking agent capacities, where they'll reach out to podcasts on your behalf and say, pitch you as a guest. And I think it's worth it to make a list of maybe like 50 to 100 shows you'd really love to be on, and just reach out and see what happens.
Yeah.
A lot of the time they probably will say yes. If they don't answer, just follow up again. That's pretty low hanging fruit. And then it takes 90 minutes top out of your time to have these conversations. And then again, if they're videoed like this, repurpose them for social media content, put it out on your own channels. You can create blog articles out of the different things you talk about. So I guess the key takeaway from like, what are the other tactical things? Find the strategies that will give you the most bang for your buck. Where you can really allow what you've done to ripple out and be repurposed and recycled. If you're repetitive, it's okay, because I think there's a good chance it's like a small amount of people who saw whatever the first thing was. So if you do it again, it might be a completely different group. It doesn't come off as repetitive.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're providing good, valuable information, it will always be valuable to the people who find it.
That's right.
I like the suggestion of, you don't have to start a podcast. You could just kind of create a campaign to be a guest on podcasts.
That's right. Yeah. That's great.
And get that video. You can repurpose it. That seems like a lot of bang for your time.
Right.
In that sense.
Absolutely.
And maybe no bucks at all.
Right. You're just giving value to be, someone who can help book the, book you on the calendar.
And you'll see Bob Knackle do that very thing. Like I don't think he has his own podcast, but he's been on ours. He's been on all these others.
Yes.
And once he
did start his podcast.
He did.
He did now.
There's only 2 episodes so far. He's being very, very methodical with it. But
Okay.
he has finally started his podcast.
Good. Well, good. But he uses all those videos on his social media channels.
Yeah.
Or Mo does.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is true. That's true. And another thing you said too that I really want to drive home to anybody that's like wants to move into the space of creating content and just not sure how to do it. It's something Gary Vaynerchuk said a long time ago that really resonated with me as I was helping other people to start producing content, which was document what you're already doing, right? And there's, this was kind of trending the last 5 to 10 years of like living your life as if there is a camera crew filming a documentary of your life that really helps you to take action and actually do things and not think so much about what you're not doing and what you would like to be doing. And the whole idea in one line was document over create. If you just pull out your phone and document the day in the life of what you're already doing, you don't have to take the camera in there while you're doing a deal or talking to a client, but you can talk about the before, even share what you're feeling, get a little vulnerable, or not, and then the experience afterwards and take people on a journey of your day in the life. And Justin Ryder does a great job doing this. He's got his little camera that's easy to move around and, is small, and he just documents a day in the life. So I think those are good things. I will
shout out real quick. Aviva.
Yes, Aviva.
She had Gary Vee on her podcast earlier this year. So if you're in commercial real estate and specifically want to hear what Gary Vee has to say about marketing, it's an excellent episode. Highly recommend it.
Wow, that's cool. I didn't know she had Gary Vee. That's very
I actually
cool.
did. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. I wonder how. Yeah.
We met her last week.
She was a fan of his and just would engage with his content and keep engaging. And then eventually she said, "Hey, I have a podcast. Would you like to be on it?" And he said yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Just ask.
Yeah.
You never know what people will say.
Don't say no for people in your head.
That's right.
Might as well just ask.
Barbara Corcoran. Come,
who
Barbara.
I would love to have on both of our podcasts.
Well, after she comes on ours, we'll introduce her to you.
Yeah. We'll hook you up.
Please do. I would love that.
I do got a question, which we'll lead a little bit more into Crexi. I mean, you work for Crexi, and we haven't really talked about that platform at all. But what I think is so cool is in your podcast, you're hearing so many stories from people who are a part of our audience. And most of them use Crexi. Some of them might not. But I'm curious to you because and I think there's another host as well, maybe more than 2 of you, but you are hearing, at least you're hearing it through the editing process. You're hearing all these stories from brokers and investors, and what are some things in your mind that have stood out? Maybe some patterns that a lot of them have talked about that have led to their success, or some other things that were outliers that were like, oh my goodness, that through all your experience of hearing all these stories, what are some things that have stood out to you, whether it involves using the Crexi software or not?
It's a fantastic question. The first thing that comes to mind is, I would say, being intentional with what they do is a big one.
Do you mean in terms of
that's
like specializing?
In many regards. Okay. So specialization is one. I feel like a lot of the people who have the most, what outside looking in we would call success, do really hone in on what their specialty is and master that craft. I do think, you'll maybe have a smaller audience, but as long as you have a really devoted 1,000 true fans, as the saying goes. I think that's Kevin Kelly. You will never want for business, but also with their time, where they choose to focus their attention and their resources. I think the people who do really, really well are those who, about almost what we talked about with you on our podcast, which is remembering that they have agency. And then setting aside time for the things that will, take care of their bodies, take care of their minds, that won't just allow them to get distracted. The commonality I see most strongly is the people who are very intentional with what their day looks like, who they do deals with, not being afraid to say no if, it's a problematic client or it just isn't a fit or it's not in their wheelhouse, who don't direct any energy towards, I don't want to say dishonesty, but, trying to fake whether or not they're capable of doing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just moving with intention and integrity, I think, is something that helps people overcome obstacles, especially earlier in careers. Not saying that there's not fear in a lot of these cases, or challenges by any means, but those who kind of have the wherewithal to know that they will do the thing, whether they know it will succeed or not. And that move with intention, I think, is, they don't give up.
Follow the fear.
There's a lot of luck in a lot of these cases, but it's the not giving up that is really, really key.
Yeah.
That was a great question. And that was a great answer to that question.
Really good answer.
I would love to think about it more because I feel like there's more, but
that is such a common thing that we hear as well. We just talked to the episode that just came out was with SUPERPOWERS HQ. These are the guys that really help match people with incredible virtual executive assistants like Bo has. And one thing that's so great about what they do is it's not just a matchmaker thing. They really help coach the entrepreneurs to nail down what their unique skill is and create that common language between them and their executive assistants to be partners. And the executive assistant can look around the corner for them, really take the lead in the relationship and help them to live in their unique skill, being intentional with their time and their thing. It was incredible. Anybody listen to this, go listen to that podcast. If you're interested at all about that process of getting one, you can go to superpowershq.com/commercially speaking. But that was incredible. And that was a theme for them. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard of a company that helps entrepreneurs be so intentional and provide that service of bringing somebody in to take up everything else,
Yeah. That's a really insightful answer she gave us to your question, though.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, those who succeed are intentional in what they work on, but also very intentional about their time.
Yes. Yeah.
And where they want to spend it, and they do things on purpose.
Yeah.
And I love that. I do want to get into, I want to ask you 3 questions about Crexi specifically.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And here's what they are. What's new with Crexi? What's next for Crexi? And I'd love the elevator pitch for why Crexi is different. I got back into the industry at the end of 2018, and right about that time, I heard about Crexi. I don't know when it was founded, but it was not ubiquitous yet. I would say Crexi is fairly ubiquitous now. Like, I don't think there's any serious brokerage companies out there that aren't using it. I mean, that should be a fairly rare thing at this point. But I remember at the time, it was a new idea. It was a little bit different. I got a demo. I was like, this is easy to use. This seems pretty insightful. I bet it'll be pretty effective. I can say we've actually done deals because we utilize Crexi. I can't say that for all of Crexi's competitors. Yeah. There are certain things that you're just expected to have your stuff.
What are their competitors? For anybody that is like, Crexi, what are they talking about?
I'm trying not to say who they've got one particular competitive that likes to sue a lot. I'm trying not to say
no,
them.
You don't have to say
nobody
but like, what is it?
Listening
what is Crexi? Yeah.
That wouldn't know who I'm talking about. But
okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
Could you say, like, is it like Zillow, but for commercial real estate? And we're about to learn why it's different.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That is Zillow for commercial real estate is the tagline I use for people who are not in commercial real estate when they ask what I do.
Okay, cool.
So I'll start with your last question first, which is the elevator pitch. So Crexi is a commercial real estate platform that has several different offerings that cater to every phase of the commercial real estate transaction process. So we have a marketplace, which is a listing platform. If you are looking for property to invest in or want to sell, you would list it or search on Crexi. We also have a suite of tools specifically for brokers called Pro, which is enhanced marketing capabilities, lead management, due diligence, documentation management, things to make brokers' lives easier and help them close more deals.
Yeah, you are.
We also have a data subscription tool called Intelligence, which we partner with a large variety of data partners, as well as use our own proprietary data from our listing platform to aggregate everything you would ever want to know about a given property or market demographics to make commercial real estate decisions. Brokers use it to provide more value to their clients. Investors, tenants, buyers, appraisers use it to create comps, to do market research, etc. And there's a lot of good information on there. One we recently launched earlier this year was CMBS data and pre-foreclosure data. So let's say you're looking maybe for a good property deal. You can see on particular listings if there is a pre-foreclosure notice, maybe they're willing to cut a good deal for that property. So really just trying to provide as much accurate and aggregate information as possible for stakeholders to make these decisions and move more quickly through the transaction process.
Okay, now hold on just a second. I'm sorry because you're rolling, but I need to back up and let Timmy show off for just a second. Yeah. What's CMBS?
It's commercial mortgage-backed security loans.
All right, good, great.
Hey,
all right,
there he goes.
He's been listening.
I love it.
All right, continue.
And then we also have our auction service where you can actually work with our in-house team to auction properties on our website, which is a very exciting thing. We have auctions most every week, maybe every other week, but it's very exciting to watch the bidding numbers come in and move. So if you're ever curious about watching a bidding process, those are on our website.
That's cool.
But those are our main 3, I guess 4 if you include the marketplace, core features. And we really just have a goal of making the commercial real estate industry more transparent, more accessible to people who want to get into it, more efficient for those who are already dealing in it and are looking to get transactions done, and just try to be that all-in-one resource for whoever might be playing in the space with a tech-supported and ease of use that comes with being tech-supported for those parties. So that's the elevator pitch, which very large building.
No, that's great.
Yeah, good.
What's new with Crexi? We had a few very exciting go-to-markets recently, which is code for just launched new features. I mentioned one, CMBS pre-foreclosure data. Another one we recently launched is our lease data side of our platform, which has lease comps, property data on for lease listings. It has tenant information, including like operating income, lease terms, all that good stuff. So if you are a tenant side broker or a tenant or an investor trying to look at, what the tenant roles look like on a property, all that is included in the intelligence subscription now. So just a lot more robust and complete of a picture of what the property is doing and how it's performed in the past. We actually had a very exciting live webinar, which had over 500 participants, I believe, listening in to learn more about lease data and why data for the leasing market is so important. Because I feel like historically we don't, there's not as much data in the leasing market, especially compared to sales comps.
Yeah, that's hard to get.
So it's really exciting.
That data is really hard to get.
Yeah, so that's very exciting. And then we also launched market reports, which are more of an aggregate snapshot of particular markets or particular asset classes in particular markets or on a national scale, which kind of give you a snapshot over time of things like average asking price per square foot, cap rates, asking versus effective leasing rates, just a picture of what the market has been doing as a whole to give you a little bit more context of maybe how a particular property is performing versus the general market wherever you're focused on. And then I can't say too much about what's coming next, but I think everyone can agree that AI is very interesting.
Yes.
And so we're really experimenting and exploring what can be done with AI as it relates to existing and potential new features on our platform.
Is there any AI utilization in the platform right now?
Yes, there is. So we use machine learning to help better pair particular properties that are on the platform with existing property seekers based on their past behavior and indicated interests. It's a little more technical than how I'm explaining it, but the hope is we can serve you the most relevant properties based on what you're looking for right off the bat. when you get on the platform. And so it's a little bit of like, okay, we're trying to give brokers the most relevant leads on their listings and at the same time make it a really valuable experience for the property seeker. There are also more features that are currently integrated in the platform that our beta cohort is experimenting with currently. So hopefully those will be able to be talked about a little bit more early next year. But I will put out the call if you are interested in beta testing new features on Crexi.
There we go.
Email podcast@crexi.com and tell them I sent you from Commercially Speaking.
Nice. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Hey, I was having lunch with our sister last week, and I said something about beta testing or whatever. And she asked me this question, and I didn't know the answer. I'm speculating what the answer is, but you, being in the tech space, I bet you know the answer. Where's the alpha testers? Is the alpha like the internal? Is that you're testing it internally, and when you beta test it, you take it outside? Is that?
Yes. It depends on the company. It can mean different things, but I will say in our case, alpha testing is mostly internal users and then maybe a very small cohort of external testers as well. And usually whatever feature it is in much, not quite where it will be during beta testing. It's fully formed in that it can be used, but really alpha and beta testing are to try and find what are maybe key things that were overlooked from a use perspective and make sure we get those in there. And then beta testing, usually it's a lot closer to the finished product. It's finding bugs, it's finding ways to break the tool, and then going back and making sure we can fix it and address it before it gets launched to the wider user base. But it varies from company to company usually.
Well, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Shanti, where can people find, this is your moment to tell people where to find the Crexie Podcast or
if they want an original song.
Oh gosh.
This is your moment.
We'll talk about that. Yes. So you can find Crexie on all social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. If you type in Crexie, you'll find it. It's the logo with the blue buildings. There's slightly different usernames on each one. We have a TikTok if you like TikTok.
Woo.
You can find the Crexie Podcast on all the podcast apps. So Apple, Spotify, Amazon, rest in peace, Google Podcasts. I think they finally sunset. And then you can find me if you want to get in touch. My name's Shanti Ryle on LinkedIn. Send a DM. I'd love to chat with you. See if you have any questions or any thoughts on the episode.
SHANTI, correct?
Yes. And Ryle like Kyle with an R.
Oh, nice. Cool. Cool.
Sean with a T and Kyle with an R.
That's right. Cool. Anything else,
More
Will?
like Shan with a T. Huh?
Oh, yeah. Shan with the T. Shanti.
Is she messing with me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Anything else, Bo?
Well, you want to put Timmy through a pop quiz?
Oh, I got an idea for this.
Ooh.
We're both out of the commercial real estate world into the commercial real estate world, right? And we've both, through osmosis or learning through stories and things. I mean, should you test both of us on just general commercial real estate stuff?
Oh gosh.
Well, let's do it. Right. Are you game?
I'm down. I'm scared.
Okay, so on the fly, we'll do this. We'll do this opposite. Shanti, normally what we do is you and I would take turns asking Timmy questions. Yeah. Okay. In this case, I think I'll take turns asking you guys questions.
Oh, okay.
We'll do 5 questions. Since you're our guest, we'll start with you. Here's one I've asked Timmy 100 times. He generally flubs it up. Yeah. But explain to me what a cap rate is. And what's the equation for it?
Oh my God, I knew you were going to ask this.
I know it.
It's like the obvious first question, right?
Yeah, okay, let's see.
No, wait, but this is for Shanti, so
we'll
see.
Okay,
but
okay.
if she
I
can't
can
nail it,
everyone has a different definition of it.
Yeah, but I have the right
definition. I don't know if I can tell you the equation for it, but the cap rate is generally an assessment of the risk involved with investing in a particular property. So the higher the cap rate, the riskier the investment, but the higher potential for a return on investment if things go well. And usually they correspond upward as prices go down because sellers are really trying to get people to invest in potentially riskier properties.
That is a fantastic definition of what a cap rate is. It's all about the risk.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super impressed.
Yeah, very good.
Because most of the industry gets it wrong, and they think it's a return on investment or whatever. It is not. It's a measurement of risk.
Yeah.
Now,
Can I give the equation?
Well, let's go to question 2. Timmy,
Oh, okay. Yes.
What's the equation for a cap rate?
Sure. So what equals a cap rate would be net operating income over the asset value. The value of the asset at the time?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
It equals the cap rate.
Yes.
Yeah! Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So cap rate is
We're
net
killing
operating
it,
income
Timmy. We're killing
divided
it.
Yeah.
divided by value. Hey, that was really, really well done. Really well done.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed. I don't have the third question. Okay, let's do this. You, Shanti, you talked about the market reports that you guys are putting out now. Lease rates, occupancy, a lot of that stuff. Part of a good market report, and I haven't seen your all's, so I'll have to check it out. One thing, if you really want to dive deep, you can go on and you can figure out the economic base of a market. Okay, so here's your question. What is basic employment? And I fully expect that you may have never heard that term.
So I will caveat, in our market reports, we're reporting out on the state of what we see on Crexi, specifically for what's happening in commercial real estate, less so economics and demographics. I think base employment, if I were to guess, is basic employment or base.
Basic.
Right.
Like basic instinct.
Yeah, I would assume non-farm employment as it relates to total population in a given MSA.
Okay.
That's a smart, wrong answer.
What you actually just described is the population to employment ratio, which is very important in figuring out the economic base analysis of a market. Basic employment is the types of jobs that create a good or a service that gets exported outside of the local market and brings new dollar bills into the local market.
Okay, so GDP related to the GDP.
These are like, for instance, take a auto manufacturer. They're not just building enough cars for that market. They're building many, many more. They ship those outside and they bring new dollar bills in. And the important thing about those types of jobs is they have a multiplier effect. So basic jobs create non-basic jobs, which are service-related jobs that circulate the dollar bills that are already in the economy.
Like waiters, barbers, doctors, lawyers, realtors.
Yeah, they're not really bringing new dollar bills in. And the reason why all that's important is if you can figure out and predict basic employment growth, you can predict total employment growth. You can predict then total population growth, and it's people that create demand for space. And so you can actually predict the amount of demand you're going to have for retail versus multifamily versus industrial in a market. If you can figure out basic jobs and predict basic job growth. So that's,
baby.
Yeah.
Yep. Sweet.
Okay.
There you go.
That was a hard one.
Yeah. I learned something.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
All right. Okay. Timmy, question 4. She was sharing with us before that the goal of Crexi, all right, is to, throughout the entire industry, make it more transparent, accessible, and what was the third one?
Usable?
No,
that's kind of goes to the second one there. Transparent, flexible, and
transparent, accessible,
yes.
And
transparent, accessible, and fun.
Fun is a great wrong answer.
I don't know.
We strive for fun.
What? So, Shanti, what is it?
I believe I said efficient.
You did.
Efficient.
Yeah.
Efficient.
One of my favorite words.
Yes,
efficient.
you love efficiency. Efficient.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Question 5. I gave you a hard one last time. I'll give you
I'm
an
gonna redeem
easier.
myself.
Give you an easier one this time. What were the 2 songs that Timmy played for us at the beginning of this episode.
One was Piano Man.
Yep. Actually, there were three.
The other one was Chandelier.
Chandelier.
And the third, what was the third one? FU.
Yeah. I was about to say, did you forget?
Did you forget you?
Did forget you? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, very good.
Well done.
Hey, that was fun.
Yes.
That was really
Thanks
fun.
for playing along with us.
We've never had a very unique pop quiz testing the
love it.
creatives in the room about commercial real estate. I love it. I love it too. I love it too. Well, all of those of you that are listening, we got a new episode every single Monday. It comes out wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you can watch the podcast there. And we've got the clips as well, little bite-sized little snacks, as we call them, CS snacks. So if you are listening on YouTube, even if you're not, we'd love it if you go and subscribe, ding that little bell, comment, share wherever you can. It helps us out a great deal on Apple Podcasts especially, and on Spotify too. Spotify is doing some really cool things. But if you subscribe there or follow, as well as leaving comments, but if you could leave a review, especially on Apple Podcasts, if you've gotten any value out of this, out of listening to us, we'd so appreciate a review. We shout out every single Apple review that comes in. So you just go to our channel, our channel, and scroll down past a few episodes. You'll see the reviews there and where you can leave one. We really appreciate that. You can check us out on all social media at Commercially Speaking. On X, we are COM Speak Pod. Follow us on there as well. We share a bunch of content. You can see a little highlight reel from Bo and I at Massimo Con, which was so much fun. And then we have a newsletter that goes out every single Thursday. Bo, how do they subscribe to that?
Yes, you go to subscribe.wgbarron.com. That's a newsletter of curated content. We're going to share with you a recent podcast episode so you never miss one of those. And then stuff on negotiation, company culture, investment, just a lot of great information that I like to geek out on.
Yeah.
That's curated in one place, 5 to 7 minute read there. And it's just a way to stay in touch with us. And we love to have you there. Additionally, and I will just say this just to kind of echo what Timmy was just saying, if you get any value with this at all, our only ask is that you pay it forward and pass it on. And so it's to share our episodes with your colleagues or others who could benefit from the content that we create here. That's a great way to thank us, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we got a lot of great episodes coming up as well. We've got we've got a big episode of what to look forward to in 2025 with Lonnie Hendry of the Trepwire Podcast, as well as your CPA
Kevin Bassett.
So that'll be a great team up there. We got Beth Azor. Beth Azor coming up. There's somebody else too, Sam McVeigh. We've got and several more that are coming up this season, which we're really, really excited about. So tune in every single Monday. We got you. If you do want, we're about to say goodbye to Alice, and you all hear us say goodbye to Alice every single time. In order to get your own Alice, because I know you get emails all the time. Does Alice has a sister? Alice has so many sisters. They're all in the Philippines, and they're all ready to work for you. You can go to superpowershq.com/commercially speaking. Set up your discovery call and get that today. Shanti, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, yeah.
This is great.
We so appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Love you, brother.
Love you, man.
Bye, Alice.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. There she is. Oh, Alice, so good to see you.